Good morning, everybody. It's Lynn, the Leather Bag Lady. How are you all today? It is Tuesday morning, 11 o'clock, because I'm ready for my tea and my piece of toast. I can tell you. I had a hard day yesterday. I didn't eat junk, but I ate more than I normally do. So I don't know. I don't know whether psychologically I know Lent's over. Isn't that weird? I'm listening to a Joe Rogan podcast at the moment, and it's a lady who's written a book about dopamine and addictions, and he's having a really hard time because she's basically telling him that the severity of the tasks that he challenges himself with, he takes great pride in, that is an addiction. And it's how he's managing his dopamine in a way that is a pathway to addictions. And he clearly admits he has addictions and doesn't want to start new pursuits because he knows he will get completely enthralled. And then I thought about myself and how hard I kick my own ass. Lent, giving up that stuff, giving up. It's a scary thought, and I'm just listening to it now, so I don't know, a little freaked out right now. I have a very addictive personality. I have an addiction to chocolate. I've put that addiction up against alcoholic friends, drug user friends. They've absolutely laughed me out of the room, but anything you wake up in the morning promising yourself you're going to do different and you fail and beat yourself up at the end of the day, I don't care what it is. That's an addictive mindset in my estimation anyway. Anyway, really heavy start to Leather Bag Lady today. Wow. Leather Bag Lady weather report. We had a shit ton of snow yesterday. When I went to bed last night, it had stopped, but it snowed from probably, I'm going to say 4 o'clock until about 11 o'clock last night, 10:30, 11 o'clock last night. And it was sitting on the ground. The roofs were covered. There was about this much on the fence, top of the fence in front of my house. What the hell? Anyway. It's chilly this morning, but no snow. But there is evidence of it. So, I don't know. On Thursday, we're going to be like 18 degrees. It is just nuts. Anyway, today's bag. Today's bag is a bag that I didn't really even know I had. So, I was going through... where did I come up with this bag? I think it was in the 3 bags that I've taken out of storage recently. And I had it in my fossil.com pile. And then when I had looked at it, I'm like, yeah, no, this is a vintage. So I've moisturized it. It's a really nice bag. It's got a lot going on. So... it's a real kind of red-brown color. It's like really soft, which is very indicative of those vintage bags. It does have a nice, simple metal fossil key, which is their emblem. 1954, when the company started, predominantly selling watches and belts. And then Mrs. Fossil came along, who actually worked for the company and ended up hooking herself, the company owner. And then they started with the kind of vintage vibe. So this has a shoulder strap, nice little shoulder strap, but it also has an adjustable and detachable crossbody strap. So this is a 23-inch strap drop, which is really comfortable. I'll put you down a little bit. Really comfortable as a crossbody. So the hardware, there is some scratching and whatnot, some patina on the hardware. I would say there's probably quite a bit of patina in the leather as well. And patina is just like oxidization. If you had a metal piece, something, it's just aged. And I've moisturized the bag, which has darkened the color a little bit. I would recommend continued moisturizing of this bag just because it is, you can see a little bit of the color difference. But it really will need probably a fairly regular moisturizing regime. And then once the leather has actually absorbed as much as it's going to absorb, I would say, you know, every 6 months or so, or just before you use it. So it does have magnetic back pocket. It has a front pocket here, and inside there's your coach, or your fossil. Long live vintage. Here. And the interior, there's two slip pockets. The foam pouch is quite small. Is that the foam pouch? Actually, I don't even know if it is a foam pouch. Well, yeah, it is. So I've listed this bag as 90s. It's certainly, the phone pouch is certainly not big enough for the phones that we carry today. But it is a little bigger than, you know, those really early 90s. So probably late 90s. And yeah, there was a little, you know, little drying in the corners. Like I said, I've moisturized it. So it has given it a little bit of a darker tone. There's a little back patch as well, which is really in very good shape. Very little scratching on that. It's just a beautiful bag. If you're a fossil lover, I know who you are, my fossil lover. You know, it's a nice bag. I don't have a lot of vintage fossil. I've got the white one and this one, and then there's a darker red one that is coming up soon. So, and this one I didn't even think of as being vintage. I had it, as I said, in my .com pile. So that's today's bag. It's been listed already. And let's get cracking with our new Luxe brand. So I let the cat out the bag yesterday like a dumbass. So Cartier is our brand today. So back in the 80s, I lived in Birmingham, England. My dad was working for Birmingham City Football Club. He was running the youth program there, and they were a almost bankrupt soccer team, football team. And they were bought out by a London media magnate, David Sullivan. Now, David Sullivan was a little bit controversial because he made his money through kind of girly magazines, not porn magazines, but like it was a magazine called the Sunday Sport. So it was targeted at the gentlemen, you know, all the scores, all the stories about the players. But then you'd have very scantily clad ladies throughout the magazine. And that's how he made his millions. And he decided he was going to buy Birmingham City Football Club and put a 23-year-old female at the helm, which if you have any experience with European football / soccer, that is unheard of. And she was a blonde bombshell, and it was insane, absolutely insane. Now, I had happened to move to Birmingham, England at the same time. I was coming out of a very short marriage, and I needed to get the hell out of Dodge. So I showed up on my mom and dad's doorstep, and I ended up living in England, Birmingham, for 8 or 9 years. Divorced, met my kid's father, blah, blah, blah. But I ended up befriending this young lady, and we ended up living together. We ended up hanging out and having more fun than probably I should have. She ended up marrying a Canadian soccer player from Scarborough, who my dad actually brought to Birmingham from his days with the Canadian Soccer Association. And we all would hang out. She was a very wealthy young lady. So, a very long background story to tell you about my introduction to Cartier. So, she had Cartier watches, $50,000 Cartier watches. She'd just leave them on the toilet tank. Whatever. Are they there? Are they not? She didn't have her ears pierced, so she would use clip-ons. And I remember she took it off to answer the phone and must have put it in a pair of pants pocket. Couldn't find it. So she called David Sullivan, who was her boss, and he was going to send the Cartier representative to make her a new one. And in the meantime, she ended up finding the earrings. So, but where my Cartier passion actually landed was her fragrance, the Cartier de Must. Oh my goodness me. And she told me that she discovered it from some old hooker in Soho in London. She used to work for an advertising agency, Saatchi & Saatchi. And she was in charge of getting clients hammered, and most of the time taking them to a strip joint or a brothel or something. And she got to know these people fairly well, and she discovered this scent that she just fell in love with. And I fell in love with it too. It's discontinued, I believe, and it's very hard to come by now. I did have some. I don't know if I still have it. It is more orange than a pumpkin, so it probably burned my skin now. But oh my goodness me, what a beautiful, beautiful scent. It's just really, de must. It was really musty and sexy, and loved it, loved it, loved it. So I do have a little bit of experience with Cartier, and I actually have a couple of Cartier. Do I know if they're authentic? No. Do I think they are? Yeah. I've got a tiny little crossbody. You can't even fit anything in it. And a little change purse. So where they are right now, I couldn't tell you. But I do have them. So Cartier was Louis Cartier, age 29, 1847. The company was established. In 1856, he got his first royal client. So what do we, almost 10 years. Well, that's okay. Pierre Cartier's granddaughter co-owns the company. So there's no timeline here. So I'm presuming it's quite a bit down the pike. And they sold the most expensive ruby in 2015. It was a 25.6 carat ruby for $30 million. But let me see how that falls into line with the Tiffany stuff. They had a ring we were talking about, didn't they? Tiffany important diamond, 12 carats, 2.1 million. Yeah, no, 30 million beats that out, Tiffany. Sorry. So that's our introduction to Cartier. And that's it for me today. Hopefully you're having a great day. I'm going to pick up 3 vintage slimline briefcases from a lady who is on my Facebook page, a leather bag lady. And she said she'll give them to me. They're in pretty rough shape, so I'm not sure I'm going to be able to refurbish them enough to actually resell them. But I'll give it a go. So she's invited me for tea. So I'm heading out there in an hour or so, and I'll let you see them once I get them. And now I'm going to do another reel. I'm really enjoying this stuff. So anyway, everybody, have a great rest of the day, and I'll talk to you tomorrow. Bye.